The new White House tell-all, making major headlines and facing some backlash. In the new book, Team of Vipers, My 500 Extraordinary Days in the Trump White House, former White House aide Cliff Sims paints a wild picture from within. The president's re-election campaign now suing Sims for violating his non-disclosure agreement. Cliff Sims joins me now. All right, Cliff, I read the book. I was very entertained and intrigued by it, very detailed.
Thank you.
You painted the president in a very positive light, making him out to be very driven, very focused, very engaged, very entertaining, very connected to the average person, to the average voter. But you kind of painted a negative picture to a lot of his aides in the campaign in the White House. But some of the anecdotes I'd like just regale us with, if you don't mind. Trump pulled a major power move on Paul Ryan. He walked out when Paul Ryan was talking and just went to watch TV. Tell us about that.
Yeah, so the Trump-Ryan dynamic is one of the relationships I think I focus on a lot in the book. And yeah, it's early on in the White House. All the congressional leaders had come in to talk about their plan to repeal and replace Obamacare. A little bit after that, it was Paul Ryan, the president, and Mike Pence in the Oval, small group meeting, and Ryan is kind of droning on over and over and over, kind of going over the same points, and at some point the president just kind of stands up, walks out of the room, goes into the private dining room just off of the Oval and clicks on the TV and hangs out for a few minutes in there, and the vice president ends up going and getting him to come back. But that was kind of my takeaway in the moment, was that's about the most hardcore power move I have ever seen, and pretty well set the stage for the Trump-Ryan dynamic over the next couple of years. Yeah,
and you talk about how Ryan kind of miscalculated with the Obamacare repeal and replace and needed a fire lit under him on a number of occasions. So you were partially responsible, not fully, but you had your hands in bringing the mooch on to the White House communications shop. We all remember what happened to the mooch. The mooch is a fan of Waters World. I'm a big fan of his. This is an excerpt from the book. This is from the president. Can you believe this guy? I've never seen anything like it, said the guy who hosted a reality show with Dennis Rodman, Omarosa, and Gary Busey. He's completely out of his mind, like on drugs or something. Totally out of his mind, the president continued. We'll figure it out, but the guy is crazy. Tell us about the whole mooch coming in, taking over for Sean Spicer. How'd that whole thing go down?
Yeah, so the president and I ran into each other one day in the ground floor of the residence. He was with Bob Kraft, the owner of the New England Patriots, and he kind of says offhand, "Hey, what do you think about Anthony Scaramucci?" I said, "I love the guy. He was great on the campaign. He was a great surrogate for us." And he's like, "Well, I got a plan for him." And come to find out, his plan was he was going to bring him in as comms director, but there was a lot of resistance to that, and so I kind of tried to help bring him in and get that done. He ultimately came in and he had a short tenure, but the line that you mentioned there has actually gotten a lot of pickup in the last couple of weeks of people saying that Donald Trump said that Anthony Scaramucci was on drugs.
No.
And I said, my gosh, it's like if I said, well, Jesse Waters is crazy. Well, I don't think Jesse Waters needs to be institutionalized. I'm just saying, you know, we're just making an offhand comment.
Well, some people might argue that I do need to be institutionalized.
Perhaps.
Yeah, no, and it's funny because there's so much resistance between factions. Who was it that didn't want the mooch in? It was Reince didn't want him in. Spicer didn't want him in.
Yeah, Reince and Sean, Steve Bannon, that whole crew didn't want him to come in. I think Jared was in favor of him coming in. Ultimately, it worked out. And look, the reason I wanted him to come in is I felt like we didn't have a great comms and press operation at the time that was defending the president. They were more concerned with defending themselves all the time. And I thought the mooch would change that. People can say that what they want about the mooch, but the guy was loyal to Donald Trump, and that was something at the time that was kind of missing, I think.
All right, so you brought up the White House Communications Office. There's a great moment in the book where you guys kind of gamed out Jim Acosta. You had a feeling Acosta was going to bring up the Statue of Liberty during this whole immigration battle. You knew that was going to happen. Stephen Miller came out there, and he was ready to go. Let's roll some of that footage, please.
What the president is proposing here does not sound like it's in keeping with American tradition when it comes to immigration. The Statue of Liberty says, "Give me your tired, your poor, your huddled masses, yearning to breathe free."
The poem that you're referring to that was added later is not actually part of the original Statue of Liberty. But in 1970, when we let in 300,000 people a year, was that violating or not violating the Statue of Liberty law of the land? In the 1990s, when it was $500,000 a year, was it violating or not violating the Statue of Liberty law of the land?
So Miller goes out there and smokes Acosta, didn't even know it was coming.
Yeah.
You guys prepped for that.
We knew it was coming. You know, I hosted a radio show before I came to the White House, and that is a topic that had come up at some points on my radio show. And so I kind of mentioned offhand, hey, this is a line that you could imagine Jim Acosta bringing up, and Stephen was obviously totally ready for that. And hearing it back now still kind of makes me laugh, because after that was over with, Stephen walks out from the press briefing room, and we meet in the hallway just outside the press secretary's office and kind of high-five, because we knew it was coming. It came. He knocked it out of the park, and one of the most memorable moments of the early days of the White House there.
All right, now I got to hit you with this. You know, you write the tell-all, you burn a bunch of colleagues in it, you violate the NDA. A lot of people aren't going to trust you anymore. They feel like you sold them out for a rich advance for the book. I mean, what do you think about people that are questioning your integrity? I wouldn't hire you at this point. I wouldn't trust you.
You know, I think ultimately what I wanted to do was tell the truth. And there have been people who came out of the White House and they wrote books and they were frankly full of lies and made up a bunch of stuff. And, you know, it's the most talked about presidency in history. And it's kind of tough to wade through all that and find out what is true and what's not. I'm the first person who put my name on a first-hand account that is the unvarnished truth. And that includes a lot of good that I think would surprise people and some bad that would surprise people as well. And so that's really what I wanted to do. And I don't think that there is anything wrong or any way to question someone's integrity when they're just saying, I'm going to tell the truth about this. And I think that's what I did in this book.
All right. Cliff, got to run. Talk to you later,
Jesse, thanks
man.
for having me.